Jimmy, this is MC Alfred and Ozzy Star. I'm just chilling, Jimmy Star, yo, sitting down and designing. Why every man never thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
British punk, yo, what I wanna be. Jimmy Star's new celebrity.
We'll take you out.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. We got a kick-ass show for you guys today. Before we get started, we got to do the rounds and say hi to everybody. So let's start off with my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
The star of this show.
There you go. So, okay, he
I
said
need that
hi.
before my name.
He said that.
The star of the show, Ron Russell.
So he got to say his something. Okay, just say hi real quick.
I will not.
Star of the show, say hi.
I refuse to say anything.
Okay, so then we've got the man behind the boards, Mr. Chad Murphy.
It's the Ron Russell Show with Jimmy
Yay!
Star. Did I get that right?
Got that right, Chad. The check is in the mail.
What up, fellas? Looking good.
Good, good. Beautiful weather here. 111, blue skies, sunny, hot, no humidity.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous weather.
You look like you're keeping your color.
Well, yeah, it's easy. You know, I drive my little convertible all over town for an hour, and I come back, really bronzy.
That's how you.
Yes, he does.
That's how you suntan Roger. That's cool.
Yeah, I have no patience to lay in a lounge.
Right? You got to be doing something.
Well, yeah. Also, when you drive in a car, the sun is moving. You know, you're turning corners, so your whole body gets it. You
Scenery.
don't get just...
You got scenery everywhere. Yeah, sure. Good.
Oh, it's gorgeous
Multitasking.
here. I drive out to the desert. I go up to Whitewater, which is all the way up in the mountains, and it's a waterfall and it's a lagoon, and it's in the middle of the desert. Nobody around. It's gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Awesome.
So we got to finish our hellos real quick. So we got a chat room full of people. What's up?
Chat room.
We want to give a shout out to B. Claudie. She's in Germany. Say hi to B.
Hey, baby, how are you, baby?
We got Irish Ginger in the chat room. She's in Belgium. We have Eileen Shapiro in the chat room.
Hello, my darling.
We have,
how are you, my
I think
sweet?
Illy was in the chat room. I'm not sure because it's not going by very fast now. I don't know who's there. But whoever's in the chat room, hello. We got a great show for you guys today. We have the super gorgeous and talented Karyn White coming on. You guys know her, Superwoman. And we've also got Dr. Dre coming on from Yo MTV Raps in the second half of our show. And we got an announcement about the film we're going to. They still got a few tickets left in L.A. for tomorrow for the red carpet premiere we're going to. It's all going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it. Hannah Clive is in the chat room.
Hannah.
I think that might be Goddess, because she said, "Hey boys." That sounds like something Goddess would say. In the chat room, say hi to Goddess.
No.
Okay.
Why?
Okay, Goddess. He's not saying hi to you either.
I'm going to send my love and kisses to Goddess. Just a hi is not sufficient enough. Right, Goddess, baby?
I think it's Goddess, but I'm not actually.
If Goddess is
sure.
not in the showroom, then I'm taking back my hugs and kisses.
I think it's Goddess, though. I'm not sure.
Or if she's not there, it's going to be smacks and kicks.
And also, Illy's in the chat room, and B. Claudia said thank you. And we're going to have a really fun show for you guys today.
B is always more than kind. She's the sweetest girl in the world, B.
The sweetiest?
Sweetiest. Yes, you never heard the word sweetiest?
I've heard sweetie, but
I have
not
now.
sweetiest.
You're the sweetest person I ever met.
Chad, have you heard sweetiest?
I have now.
Yes,
Well,
okay.
you know,
Well, that's a Ronism anyway.
No, it's not.
Ron likes to make up words.
No, it's a Brooklynism.
Ah.
Because she's the sweetest girl I ever met. That's how they used to say it. She's the sweetest.
You gotta
Meaning more than sweet. She's the sweetiest.
Works for
You
me.
gotta totally enjoy it. It works.
Well, that's because we saw Gotti last night, so my Brooklyn accent came back. Travolta did a very good job impersonating Gotti.
Yeah.
But, Gotti was not all the meanness that they said he was. Gotti was mean in his business, just like presidents are today. Meanness seems to be rampant today. But Gotti was just a mobster who ran his mob. And if you cheated, lied, connived, or did anything, you were dead. But you knew that when you joined the mob. But But as far as killing innocent people or putting them in concentration camps or locking up children in camps, Gotti never did that.
In little cages, you
Yeah,
mean?
Gotti was not a mean man. I must tell you, I knew him, okay? Let's put it that way. I was in his company a few times, and he was a very, very charming, delightful, funny guy, and as nice as could be, and walked around offering us, what can I get you? What do you want? You want some crackers here? You want cookies? You want whatever? And he was just a nice fella. But in his business world, he was a mean, outrageous killer. But you know what? So is the CIA. I mean, who killed John Kennedy? Who killed Marilyn Monroe? So we have it in our government. We have a very corrupt government in this country, in case everyone out there doesn't know it. America likes to, do Hollywood and fanfare it and cover it up and make us look like we're all wonderful people and we all live in mansions and swimming pools and drive Rolls Royce. So that the poor people in other countries look at this in film and they say, oh my God, we're so poor, we don't have food. Why don't we go to America and see if we can't get some of that wonderful stuff too? And they jump a fence and they come here and they do that. Well, I've got news for you folks. If I was living in a country that was like some of the countries, the people that come here, I would jump that fucking wall faster than anybody. And if anybody touched my kids to put them in a camp, I'd kill them all. I don't care if I died doing it, but at least I defended my children. That's who I'm angry with. I'm not angry with Trump and his stupidity because he's a moron. I'm angry with the people whose children are in those camps and they're not rioting. Because if this were
They're
Brooklyn,
in cages too.
no, they're not in cages.
Oh, I thought they were in
No,
cages
there are
too.
millions of Hispanic people coming up from all the way down Ecuador, Nicaragua, all over. They're all coming into our country, okay? And they're here. We have 8 million Mexicans in L.A. alone, or whatever the amount is. I mean, I thought it was 8 million. If all those people got together and marched on Washington and made a big stink about it, maybe something would be done. But
It's going to be done anyway. It's not going to last much longer.
Listen, a few people on Facebook that are insulting Trump about his stupidity and what he's doing ain't going to make it, babe. We got to go out and fight. Remember Stonewall, how gay people fought? Remember who sat on the back of the bus and she fought? Remember back history?
Rosa Parks.
Well, I don't want to use names. I hate to name drop. But
We didn't know her.
it's more poetic the way I do it. You do it like a journalist. I do it more poetry. But remember when you couldn't sit in the front of the bus, folks? Remember when you couldn't use a white toilet? Remember? Or did we forget? Remember how poorly you were treated by the white upper class? Well, you fought and you won. And today you are one of the best races we have in this country. And that's the same thing that the Hispanic people have to do. They've got to fight Donald Trump and say, stop it. Stop it. Our children are not animals. Do not cage them. That's all.
There you go. So, I actually, though, like that thing on the news last night, I thought they said, though, that the kids are in one detention center and the adults are in another detention center. They're not like the...
Well, I don't know what it is, but to me...
Either way, it's terrible.
And I don't like to compare it to the Nazi concentration camps because, no, it's nowhere near the Nazi concentration camps. I mean, those people were they were incarcerated to be killed. They were gassed and killed. The children, the women, the old, the young, everybody. Gays, straights, gypsies. Hitler killed everybody. Trump's not going to kill, because Trump can't get away with it. Maybe if he could kill them all, he would. Why he has such an anger for the Hispanic people, I don't know. When we have just as many Asians coming in from all the Asian countries illegally. If you're in California, Southern California, where we are, you can drive from L.A. to Palm Springs, Cucamonga, all those mountains are all Asian people. There's miles, like 150 miles of just Asian people that never were before. Now, they came in the country illegally. Why isn't he doing it to the Asian people? Why only the Hispanic people? And let me tell you something else. He called them, what did he say they were infecting? Yeah, well, they do infect us because they wash our cars, they service our food, they clean our homes, and they are some of the nicest people I have ever met in my entire life. So if that's what infectious people are, I'm happy they're here infecting us. My gardener is wonderful. He's a terrific guy. Okay? So
anyway.
No, that's it's
But they're
just
not all
it's
gardeners,
no, it's
you know.
No, but I'm just saying the people that we
know.
and I have Hispanic friends also. I have many I went out with a Mexican Burton. Burton was Mexican. I went out with him. The one that you took me away from. Right.
Anyway, I think that they're saying it's big news in the UK and that the parents are separated in a different camp.
Well, I think the whole thing is disgusting. I think it should end immediately. Those people should be released. And instead of persecuting them, I think we should help them. I think we should find them housing and jobs and get them on their feet. They are running away. Listen, when the Italians left Italy, the wealthy Italians did not leave. It was the poor farmer who had nothing, who came to America illegally. My father jumped ship in 1923. My father was an illegal alien for years. He didn't become a citizen until like 1950s. Okay, so I'm the product of an illegal alien. It's just such nonsense. It's just not to be believed. But everybody,
it's not the way it's supposed to be.
Everyone jumped ship. The Germans, the Irish, they all did in the 1920s and 30s. They came here illegally. Nobody was locked up. Nobody took me away from my father. Because first of all, if they did, my father would have blown them all up and killed them. There was no way that anybody touched my father's children. My father was Italian, crazy Italian. You know, his kids were golden. They were gods. You touched them, you're dead.
They're saying you're related to E.T. I don't know what that means. Oh, the extraterrestrial.
Well, yeah, we are extraterrestrials. We all are. Billions of years ago, when we left our planet to come to this planet, to civilize it, not to popularize it, to populate it?
Populate it. We got all kinds of new people in the chat room. What's up, Dave from Stars Now UK is in the chat room, and Aaron Paul is in the chat room. His new book, I Don't Care, too, you guys. It's coming out. We're getting our copies next week. I can't wait.
I'm so sick of him already. I'm going to smack that bitch when I see her.
You're going to see her in a little bit.
She's coming on again.
She's calling in for a minute.
Oh, I'm going to vomit. That little trampette. She promised me that book so long.
It's coming, though.
She's coming. The only thing that comes is her. She said, it's in the mail. Oh, it's in the mail, Ron. It's in the mail, Ron. It's in the mail.
I got an email from like the publishing place saying it's coming.
They suck too because
they did. No, they're doing. What they did is they redid it because the first printing didn't come out as good, and so they're sending us a better copy.
I don't believe this. What kind of world are we living in? I want to read his book so I can insult him. So I can pick out all the stuff I want and say, oh, yeah, Aaron, so that's what you did? You did a four-way with who?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, so you were a prostitute on 3rd Avenue for how many years, Aaron? Oh, yeah, how much money did you make?
First of all, I Googled. You guys listened up. So Aaron Paul's in the chat room, and I was like, oh, let's like Google Worlds Apart, because that was one of my favorite boy bands, you guys. They were fantastic. And actually, Worlds Apart sold 10 million records.
And Aaron was fired for molesting the rest of the world.
Ron.
What?
No, that's not what happened.
What happened?
Aaron Paul was not fired for molesting anyone.
It's not a good joke he's saying.
Oh.
Yeah, get with it.
All right, let me cleanse.
You don't joke about molesting kids.
I clear that up for Aaron.
He was a kid himself, so he really was just having sex. No, let me clean it up. I love and adore Aaron Paul. We tease each other constantly. I mean, we are like make-believe at each other's throat, and it's not real. I love him to pieces. He calls me Uncle Ron. And Aaron Paul's one of my favorite people in the world, but I do bust his chops every opportunity I can.
There you go. Thanks, Chad.
My pleasure.
For those out there who might believe it, please don't believe such a thing.
Never know.
No,
because a lot of people are tuning in for the first time to hear our guests, and they don't know us.
Aaron likes to molest 80-year-old men in wheelchairs in nursing homes.
In that case.
That's funny. You got
right. Aaron's in the chat room.
He said thank you.
Aaron, I love you. You know that. And everything.
It says there's lots of juicy stuff for you in the book, Uncle Ron.
I'm sure there is. I want to hear all the sex stuff.
Why is it that you only want to hear the sex stuff?
Because she's such a whore.
No, she's not.
The sex has to be incredible.
No, she's going to talk about lots of things.
I hope he only talks about his boyfriends. He's got the most gorgeous boyfriends in the world.
He's also going to talk about working with Simon Cowell.
Who cares about Simon?
I do.
That other
and having a song probably that was on the Queen soundtrack, that Academy Award movie.
Who's the Queen? Aaron?
The Queen was a movie.
Oh. No. I want to read. Aaron Paul has dated the most gorgeous men in the world. All his boyfriends, one more beautiful.
They want to know why do you have a cactus on your willy?
A cactus on my willy?
I guess that shows where people are looking. I didn't even notice till now. Thanks, chat room.
That's some funny shit. That was actually Hannah Clive who brought that out.
That's funny. Little prickly pear.
That is hilarious. And we know you love us, Aaron. We love you too. And we're gonna call our first guest, you guys. So how about this? We're gonna play a song. Our first guest, you guys, is gonna be Karyn White. Mm-hmm. This is a video for one of her songs, Unbreakable. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. I thought since we played Superwoman last week, we'd play something different. So check it out, everybody. This is Unbreakable by the incredibly talented Karyn White, and we're going to get her on the line.
By the way you treat me, it makes me think you don't wanna be with me. Your actions show that your words don't mean a thing. I feel the pain, but I done cried all these tears, and now I'm all alone. If this is for the birds, then that's what love's about. I thought that I can't take no more. Thought my heart's unbreakable. Pieces to my heart. My heart. Put it together, a brand new start. Yeah, yeah. And through it all, learning through the pain. And through it all, my heart remains unbreakable. Unbreakable, my heart is unbreakable. Put your hands to my chest, rip my heart right out my soul. Oh, I'm unbreakable. Let's keep it cool. Around my friends, you make me look like a fool. Running from the truth is catching up to you. You broke my love to pieces with all the games you played. You need to act your age. You sit and smile in my face and say you love me. When you're out with your boys, you disrespect me. Look me in the eyes, you're telling me lies. I thought that I can't take no more. Thought my heart's unbreakable. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Put it together. Yeah, yeah. Been through it all, learning through the pain. Been through it all, my heart remains unbreakable.
right, Jimbo, there you go.
All right, everybody, that was Unbreakable by Karyn White, who we have on the line now. And before we do a proper introduction, just say something to make sure everybody can hear you.
I'm here. I'm there. I'm
Nice.
everywhere.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah! This is so awesome. I'm
Get up.
very excited. Yes, we can hear you, and we're very excited. So now, everybody, we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, multi-platinum recording artist, two-time Grammy nominee, Karyn White. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here with you guys. This has been, I'm so excited. I found out, I talked to you guys, 2 weeks ago, and you guys are doing this major promotion. I was like, yes, get me all excited. So I'm glad to be here, too.
Let me introduce you to everybody, starting off with my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Hi, sweetheart. Are you married?
No, I'm not married. Are you?
Wait.
Yeah, he's
I'm
married to me.
Jimmy. But wait a minute.
Oh, I think Eileen told me that. Yes.
Well, wait a second. Is your husband rich?
No.
He's not married.
No,
Married.
she's not married.
You
Oh,
listen.
listen. All right, you have a
Was
boyfriend.
rich. My ex-husband was rich.
Well, that's good. Now, listen, is your boyfriend rich?
No. He's rich
Okay.
in alchemy and spirit.
No. The reason I'm getting to that is, remember one thing, you're gorgeous. You're beautiful. And beautiful is worth money.
Oh,
Don't give beautiful away for free. Ugly gives it away for free. Ugly's desperate. It'll take anything it can. But gorgeous like you just walk around saying, honey, I'm expensive. I'm wonderful. I love you to death. Just keep buying and giving, and I love you to pieces.
wow.
You have to remember, too, Karyn,
How beautiful
when
she
you get a
is.
compliment, and you have a huge gay following, and when you get a compliment from a gay guy,
Right.
you know that they don't want anything, so you know it's a real compliment
Right.
because they're not trying to get
In
make
your-
a
in your
play. They're not trying to
panties.
do anything with you. They're just giving you a compliment because you know it's true. So when you get a compliment from a gay guy, that's the biggest compliment in the world.
We're not trying to get in your panties if you wear them.
If you wear them.
Anyway, you
Hold on, we
are,
have to
you
finish
are
saying hi.
gorgeous.
Wait,
You
we
are-
have to keep introducing. We
Wait,
aren't
wait,
done.
wait, I want to just talk to her. Were you always beautiful, or are you an ugly, spangly kid who got gorgeous?
I don't know. I was okay. I grew into my beauty, as a lot of Black women, as we age, we find out what works for us. And when I was in high school, I wore these thin eyebrows, and my eyebrows, you see, are naturally thick. So I should have been doing the thin. It's just, you don't know what to do. So it's not that you're ugly. You just don't really know your beauty.
How to be beautiful.
You're being trendy and like.
Well, you had Lena Horne as an image. You had Dorothy Dandridge as an image. I mean, you had a lot of beautiful movie stars for the 40s and 50s that you could have emulated, copied how they wore their hair. Look, even that bitch Diana Ross was beautiful.
Yeah, and I did that when I became a star, but I'm talking about the ugly duckling days when I was trying to figure it out. I didn't have a glam squad then.
Okay, but that would go back to the Dorothy. Remember who Dorothy Dandridge was?
Of course.
I don't know. A lot of people don't know Dorothy Dandridge.
Yeah.
She's from She was a gorgeous, gorgeous Black woman. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, beautiful.
Hang on.
And so was Lena Horne.
Oh, yes.
Stunning, and a voice like you can't forget.
I channeled Dorothy Dandridge on one of my videos, Walking the Dog. So I had the whole retro, look like hers, very classic, matte red lip, clean,
Gorgeous.
just so, hair that was that real full, but, real hair. So it was cool.
Well, even my Patti LaBelle is a beautiful woman.
Yes.
I adore Patti LaBelle.
Okay, hang on though, because they've got everybody. She needs to be introduced to
Oh,
everybody as you're talking.
Well, we don't have to do it always the way you do
Yes,
it.
we
could do
do.
it different.
So now you have to say hi to Chad. He's the man behind the boards. He's actually in Florida.
Hi, Chad. How you doing?
Doing well, Karyn. I'm straight, and you are beautiful. And Ron, you're a mic hog. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Keep it clean,
Oh,
Chad.
thank you.
Keep it clean.
I am.
Then we have a
keeping it
chat
clean.
room. We have a chat room full of people. Literally, we have Belgium, Germany, we have the UK, we have Canada, we have
Now, that
every
stuff
country
is not as-
represented.
that's not as interesting as
and
my
we-
asking her that is her boyfriend rich.
Anyway, say hi to everybody in the chat room, and say hi to Eileen because she's in the chat room.
Yes, hi Eileen, and hi all of my beautiful fans all across the world, my international fan base who love you, whether you have a hit or not. And I'm just excited to be, speaking to you all. Thank you guys for joining and tuning in. Like I said, I have such love in outside of the United States, and I love it.
So
so does a very, very loving, sweet friend of mine who I adore, who I always help.
She might know.
Do you know Lily McLeod? Lily Nicole McLeod? You don't know Lily?
No.
I'm going to introduce you guys on Twitter. You'll love her.
She is killing Europe right now. She is the rage in Europe. It's a famous song in the 1980s.
I forgot. She was a dance singer in the 80s who was on X Factor, got eliminated in the fifth as the fifth person on the last season of the United States X Factor, but she's in her mid 50s and she's beautiful,
gorgeous,
and
like you,
and she's really
beauty
good.
Like you,
you'll like her
with a body of death.
I see her. Okay, I've seen her. My friend just pulled her up. Yeah, she's gorgeous. I love it. Okay,
actually, she'd be good to open for you when you're on tour.
And she's got a voice, my dear. You got to hear that voice. She makes Barbara Streisand sound like an old rusty car.
So I have two other shout-outs you have to do for us. Number one, congratulations, you're on the cover of Get Out magazine, and I'm going to tell you a quick story. So the guy who owns Get Out magazine, his name is Mike Todd, and we worked together in Florida in retail many, many years ago before he became a magazine owner and before I became a TV host. And we hooked up. Eileen actually connected us again when we lived in New York a couple years ago. And so we were on the cover of the magazine. And he's listening now. I know he's listening. I asked him if he wanted to call in because when we were back in the day, he used to sell CDs and stuff. And he loved you so much. Like you were like one of his top 5 favorite singers, and so he was like, "You guys got to get Karyn White, on the show." And I invited him to call in, but he's too shy to call in. But I would like you to just say hey to Mike from Get Out magazine because he'll appreciate that.
I've been getting lots of texts back and forth and emails. Hey Mike, what's up? I love the magazine article. You did a fabulous job, and thank you again for wondering what happened to the Superwoman. Where'd she go? Did she fall off the planet? So thank you.
And I'm so happy she didn't fall off. And then we have another friend who's was in a famous UK boy band called Worlds Apart. They sold 10 million records, and you are his absolute favorite singer. And he's in the chat room now, and he's probably he's just dying because all he keeps writing is "We love you, Karyn" over and over again. So just say hi to Aaron. His name's Aaron Paul.
Aaron, yeah, I think Karyn was telling me about him.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes. You were so sweet, and I definitely appreciate the love. Mwah! Give it to me.
There you go. All right, now you can ask her something, Ron.
I fell asleep.
Oh, well, everybody else didn't. The reason they tune in is because they're all included.
Yeah, I know, but, I hate all this Hollywood shit. That's all we're surrounded by. Every party we go to, we just went to a big birthday party for Tristan Rogers' wife, Teresa, the other night. It was wonderful. And everybody you talk to is in the business, and everybody's talking about themselves in the business. I'm an interviewer that had a show for years, all over the place, and I never ask questions like, what's your latest song? Because people know that already. They're your fan. I ask, the last guy you were out with, was he right? Was he nice? Did he turn, was he bad for you?
Yeah.
What was your greatest orgasm ever? Things like that. People want to know that stuff. No, it's true. They want to know, are you a Christian or are you a wicked woman? I mean, they want to hear all that stuff. They don't want to hear this.
Actually, though, but she has been kind of out of the spotlight.
Meanwhile, she's so
recently.
Gorgeous. She's so gorgeous.
She's been out of the spotlight a little bit.
50,000 men after her. I want to hear who was the best one. Who'd you date that was the most famous?
Her husband.
Okay. Most famous. I don't know if it was my husband.
Who was your husband?
Wasn't Jimmy Jam your husband?
Oh, Terry Lewis.
Oh, Terry Lewis was your husband. Okay, I'm sorry. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Who's Terry Lewis?
Well, Terry Lewis is half of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the biggest production team in music.
Iconic, legendary.
They're like Janet Jackson.
Then you must know my other pal, Angie B. Angie.
She might know. She's a lot more popular.
Angie B.
Do you know Angie B?
Yes, of course. That was back in the day.
That's right. Angie, I love.
We love Angie B.
We love her. I saw, we stayed at her house overnight, and the next morning we went down to breakfast, and I looked at her. I said, Angie, you have eyelashes on. What do you put your eyelashes on in the morning? She said, no, Ron, I have them put on. They last 3-4 weeks. There she was, sexy with the bazooms hanging out and the hairdo and the eyelashes, the whole face. And I thought to myself, holy shit, why don't we have...
she's in Atlanta. Angie B, because Angie B lives in Atlanta.
Gorgeous, 6,000 square foot house on the side of a cliff. She hangs out with, what's his name, Hammer.
MC Hammer.
MC Hammer.
She was part of his crew.
It's different. My guy over here, Derek, producer, he was telling me Angie Stone. I said, no, Angie B is not Angie Stone, right? That's
no.
BNGB.
It's from camp, right?
From Hammer's camp. You got it. Yeah.
Actually, when Jimmy and I got married, we used a song that Angie sings called "Love." It is.
Really?
That was our wedding song.
Our wedding song. It is the most beautiful song in the world, and Angie sang it at her home on a piano, and I was just destroyed because she really sang it for us with such love and caring. We love Angie. She's the bestest.
So I know you're in Atlanta now. Do you live on the East Coast and the West Coast, or do you live in Atlanta?
Live in Atlanta. Yeah, I live here. I've been here for a couple of years. I used to live on the West Coast in Los Angeles, in the Glendale area. So, but I miss LA, and so hopefully I'll be able to get back. But it was just too expensive trying to restart my career, investing in myself. So I bet on myself, and I moved here, and I like it, but it is a little, it is a little. Country,
rural.
And a little bit of, you have to deal with a little bit of racism and prejudice, and so that all thing.
Yeah, it's different in LA. We just moved to California.
If we give you Angie's number, call her and hook up with her. She has the best parties.
She has a great social life.
And her house is gorgeous. And let me tell you something. The men that go to her party, one more gorgeous than the other. She don't know ugly friends.
She got a boyfriend.
That doesn't matter. She can have 2 boyfriends.
She doesn't have a boy. Oh, she has a significant person in her life. I think. It don't
matter.
He just likes everybody to be fixed up. So don't worry.
I had 5 boyfriends at the same time. You know that. I was dating 5 guys. I swear to God, I'm not lying. Dating 5 guys. And they all liked me and they all wanted a relationship, but I didn't like any of them because this one was missing that. The other one didn't have. The other one was a bullshit. This one's a liar. This one drank. This one played the horses. You got to filter out the garbage, honey, and only pick the winners. So you look like you.
I want to do some bragging for you real quick because anybody who's just tuning in now, this is Karyn White. You guys know her. She had the Billboard Song of the Year in 1989, Superwoman. She's the first female artist in history to have her first 3 solo releases hit #1. She's got Secret Rendezvous. Secret Rendezvous is the one that Mike loved so much. We used to hear that when we were working. He would play that thing 50 times over. The Way You Love Me, you guys. She's got all these hits, and now she's making a comeback as not only a phenomenal singer that she's always been.
Comeback. Didn't you see Norma Desmond? Comeback is not.
Well, she's coming back as an actress though, and she's not really known as an actress.
It's her return to the screen.
Your return to the big screen. Yes, that's right. He's very good at these things.
Your return. Now, comeback means you left. She never left. She's just returning.
So you guys, Karyn White has a brand new film out called Gale in the Storm. It's actually out, right? Or is it out yet or no? Okay.
Out on Amazon. So yeah, independently on my site at Gale in the Storm, GALE and the Storm.com, bringing back the funk.
So Gale in the Storm, you guys, is loosely based on your life with manager Jay Kane, legendary music producer and founder of the Grammy award-winning group Club Nouveau. And you actually wrote this and produced this all on your own. So this is a total indie Karyn White and team project.
Oh, yes. It's an indie project that my partner and I, Derek Muhammad, we wrote together, and we were auditioning. And I'm the type of person, I've always been very ambitious, and I said, I want to do things myself. I don't wait for somebody to give me a role or to get booked. It's that sucks. Today's world, you do it yourself. And
that's right.
Right. So
move your ass or forget it.
Yes, and it was so ambitious, and we used, of course I didn't want to spend a ton of money. I didn't have a ton of money. So the great part is that we used, $20,000. We We did it with these two college students from Morehouse, and 7 days to shoot it. We recorded the soundtrack at the same time. So I would get up in the morning from 5 to noon and do vocals, and then from 1 to 1 o'clock in the morning we'd shoot the movie, and it was incredible, and it was fun. And I'm just an entrepreneur, and it was just a great great feat to do this and to say like, wow, I did it.
Let me ask you a question. I want an honest answer, if any answer at all.
Okay.
Three hits in a row. Money was made. Money was made. How badly screwed did you get? Because Angie got screwed, Nicole got screwed. Back in those days, all the stars got screwed of money. They got nothing. Those girls had super hits and made. What was it Angie said?
Angie, yeah, but she didn't make it. Expose got super screwed.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know the girls from Expose?
Yes, I did something with them about 5 years
ago.
Well,
they're very good friends of ours.
Very good friends, especially Joya. We love Joya to pieces.
But they didn't make any money.
Joya got beat out of so much money. She made Zippity Doo Dah, and her music made millions. Back then, there was something wrong with the system. Did you get burned?
Yes, I did. I got burned.
Another one.
Yeah, but it was, my thing is that I had my manager was Larkin Arnold, who was the president, who used to be the president of Sony, who signed, Luther and Sade. And so I had, these iconic managers. And so my deal was better than most artists, and I'm being a single artist, but I kind of got robbed by my accountant.
They say that happens a lot. Happens a lot.
Why is that? The accountants do that. How can they get away with it?
Right. I mean, I didn't know anything. I'm on the road. At 24, I was opening for Bobby Brown, making millions. And, I was working. I couldn't even spend it. We performed like 6 nights a week. You guys know how hot Bobby Brown was. And so after I got off the road, and then, of course, I'm like, oh, my God, expenses. And then it wound up coming out that he was also stealing from Prince and, some of his other artists that he had at the time. But
and nobody got wise to this guy.
Right. No, they got
wise. Too late. It was just too late.
I mean, how do you screw Prince out of money? Prince had to have the biggest staff going of wise guys, smart people.
Right. Well, just the thing of, exactly. Somebody's got to make sure. I would never give. My part was where I messed up is that I let him write checks for me. And I would never let anybody write a check.
No, never again. At least you learn from it, because this time when you make millions, it's all going in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you guys. So after, when I got out of the business, I started, I went through a terrible divorce. I wouldn't say so much terrible, but the fact that I didn't think that I would ever, get a divorce from the love of my life.
He left you or you left him?
It was mutual. More so, he wanted out of the relationship.
Was he a player?
No, not at all. He was an incredible man. I just wasn't mature enough. I had 3 stepchildren, and I had adopted a son, and people don't know this. So I didn't really, and then I had my own child. I didn't know how to be at all. And that was one thing, because I have tunnel vision, and I'm very good at, like, if I'm going to attain a goal, I'm great at doing that one thing, but I wasn't good at being a wife, a mother, a stepmom, entertainer. I didn't know how to balance it all. And so
not easy. Nobody can.
Yeah. And so, and being 24 and 25, it just, it was just, I really hadn't really learned yet. And now I can say I'm a superwoman, because I've been through some things that I know, I've persevered, and I get what it means to wear all of these hats and do them,
I love that so much.
So many celebrity friends of mine who are older like me have grown children, and the children mostly hate their parents or have very little to do with their parents, or if they do have anything to do with their parents, it's to take money from them. And these are major stars. And when asked why, these kids say, I wanted a mother. I wanted to come home from school and have cookies and milk, and my mother helps me with my homework. But when I got home, my mother was on a photo shoot on a chaise lounge, all made up glamorous, with thousands of people around. And I went over and said, Ma, and she'd say, go away now. Can't you see I'm busy? And the kids just resented the fact that the mother had a phenomenal. I'm talking about like Lana Turner and stars like that that are major, major stars.
And let me say this, you're exactly right. And I didn't want to be that. And I saw myself becoming that because, you know, when when you're hot, like I was at that time, you know, it's like, okay, the commitment is going to the next level and there's a sacrifice. And I wasn't really ready to make that sacrifice and be, you know, do what I knew it would take to go to the next level. And so Warner Brothers, I remember I had a song out called I'd Rather Be Alone Than Being Happy. And it was during the O.J. Simpson and Nicole, the whole thing that happened with them, domestic violence. And this song was really pretty much talking about that. And they were like, you could have a platinum record if you would just get out there and tour. And at the time I was having problems with my marriage and at home. And see, you got to think too, Terry was more busier than me because he was a nonstop, you know, one of the hottest producers of that era. So we had an AM and a PM nanny. And it was just, my mother was I had such an amazing childhood growing up. I knew that I wasn't proud, you know, of that's not the kind of mother that I knew I wanted to be. So I stepped back, but I had no idea that I would actually, you know, like quit the business. It was just like, whoa, as time went on. And but I needed to grow, and I needed to, when you have success so early, and then, you know, my first thing I did, you know, with Jeff Lorber was successful. Then I wound up doing That's the Way You Love Me. That was gold and platinum and international. It just happened a little too fast, so I couldn't appreciate what good was. When you have that kind of success fast.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's just supposed to happen. But
I've heard that from a lot of celebrities too. Did you ever feel in a way that you were becoming Diana Ross?
Oh, God. Ooh, I wish I was. No,
you don't wish you were, because she was not the nicest person in the world.
Not that sense. No, I've always been.
Did you think you were above everybody and you were a superstar and you know, you
can tell that she didn't think that just by talking to her.
I'm getting gossip and dirt from her. Shut your fucking mouth.
Oh, hey.
Excuse my French. But, you know, she's wonderful. She's open and honest. I love it.
True.
And you know how many people are loving you right now? Because you're real. You're not just a recording star. You're not just a voice. You're a person. And people adore a person. And you are a wonderful person. And you're honest. And I love your interview.
Oh, thank you. Yes, but no diva. If anything, I'm a Libra. So I'm just like, I'm a cool kind of.
Too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just love beautiful things. I love people. I root for people. And it was more so, you know, me not believing in myself, if anything, because you're around like, you know, I don't have a Grammy yet. My husband has a Grammy. Janet, you know, is in the next room recording. She's got multiple Grammys. So it was, and I was out of my element. So when I moved from LA, I kind of got a little bit off kilter moving to Minnesota because I didn't really have my friends or my support. And my husband was amazing, but the full Karyn White, it was like that Libra has to be balanced. And I never quite was balanced. And also, you know, my first hits were written by the amazing L.A. Reid and Babyface and also with Daryl Simmons. They wrote those hits for me. And on the second album, they should have repeated that my second album. And for some reason or another, they didn't want to do it because they were doing Toni Braxton. And so they pretty much, don't do that. I can't see. Sorry, don't do that. Sorry, you guys. But they were working with Toni Braxton. And so they said, well, you know, why would you're competing, you know, against, our artist. We can't do you. So Jimmy and Terry was never really supposed to do my music. It was just kind of, and I have to say that because they really didn't want to do it. They felt like, why wouldn't you continue your success with LA?
Wait a minute. If they're making a lot of money with you, they're stupid. Why didn't they continue it? What's their story? What was the real reason? Give me the real reason. You know it. You're not saying.
No, I don't. Well,
Come on, tell me. Nobody's listening. It's just you and I won't tell.
Yeah, mainly because of, you know, just the dynamic between the two producers. I think LA, especially LA Reid, because he's very competitive. So it's like, okay, you go be with Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. You know what I mean? And it was like, how did that personal thing become, you know, it should have stayed professional. And so I think it was a little bit of ego and a little bit of, you know, like you said, Arista, they were creating their own artists, LaFace, and it was a competition. And they, it wound up to where they said, let, Jimmy and Terry do it. So I guess
that's how you got screwed.
No, I think though, because one thing you said in that, like Janet Jackson's recording in the other room, and she's got a bunch of Grammys, and your husband has a Grammy and everything. I think because of the high level of environment that you were in, if you were any other singer and you got nominated for 2 Grammys and had 3 #1 hits, like it doesn't even get any better than that, because you were in the room with like the people that there is nobody bigger on the planet then. You were jaded a little bit because you were like in a competition trying to achieve something that they had, even though you had really already done it all. I mean, at 24, you really accomplished the highest things that any musician could ever accomplish in the world.
I wish I felt like that, but that's why it's so important to understand the history of a thing and to never see. For me, I was always trying to and I still have to worry about that. I always have to reflect and be reminded of my accomplishments and who I am instead of what I'm trying to achieve. Because when you keep trying, you forget. And that even till today, I've just started to really embrace you have this audience, you have people who love you, and that's the sad part about, especially being a Black entertainer, because I believe that white artists, their artists, as they get older, they become more timeless and vintage and classic and, oh my God, more iconic. And as far as with Black artists, a lot of them become, you used to be, or they
No. I have to disagree with you. I must disagree with you. One of the greatest artists, wait a second, one of the most famous, most popular, greatest artists of our day is my wonderful Patti LaBelle. You cannot beat Patti LaBelle. Patti LaBelle is the ultimate voice. There's no one in the world, black, white, green, orange, I don't care what color you are. Patti LaBelle is the superstar. So you're wrong there. A lot of white people falter also. I know some singers who were white. Johnny Mathis, my love. I love Johnny Mathis. He's my boy. Johnny Mathis, one of the greatest singers. He's still working, and he's got millions and trillions of white audiences adoring him. So I don't think you have a point there. You might have one personally somehow, which is going to the next question. I asked this to Lily McLeod. Lily, you started off in Pennsylvania in a crappy town. Your uncle was a dope dealer. Somebody else was a prostitute. You were surrounded by horrible people. You had no chance of ever being anything but a hooker or a dope addict or just a little black skinny girl in a horrible environment. Lily, what made you get out? And she said she found the Lord. Okay, good. Jesus helped her. She still to this day is a Jesus person, and she thanks him.
Christian is the word.
Well, you know what I mean. He knows she knows what I mean. So Lily McLeod pulled herself out of a bad environment because she had a belief in something higher and greater. Today, she's a superstar. This is what I tell a lot of black people that I meet, young black people, especially when I was in New York, who's starting off in the business. I say, don't let the white guy scare you, all right? Don't let him pull shit on you. What does he think you are? Like, yes, I'm a coming, ma'am. I'm going to do it. Those days are gone. We don't do that anymore in Hollywood, okay? We don't show black people as morons walking around with their big eyes going, woo, woo, woo. Today, black people are presidents, Obama. I mean, let's face it. Black people are just as wonderful as anybody else. And I tell this to all young people. Do not go into the white world thinking the white people don't like you. That's a terrible thing, because that's like me being gay. I go into the straight world thinking people don't like me. Well, that's not so, because for one that doesn't like me, 20 do.
Gotcha.
And it's good, and that's the kind of thinking you have to do and teach anyone that you know and say, you know what? Not all white people are prejudiced like Donald Trump. Everybody... Awesome. Everybody is equal.
Also, though, another thing you said, though, because what I have to say is, I do hear your point, and I think if you were to look overall at the amount of entertainers, you're probably right. A lot more of the white ones become more.
Yeah, but we have.
Hang on, let me finish.
We have 10.
I didn't interrupt
you.
But
wait a second. We have 10 black entertainers to 1 white.
No, that's not true.
Oh, we've got a wonderful score of black people. Please, best music is black people. Come on.
Okay, but you don't listen to music overall, and she's talking overall. Yes, time out.
I'm talking about the millennials pretty much. They don't appreciate the history.
No, you are right, and you're 100% right.
They don't appreciate anything, millennials.
Yeah, millennials unfortunately don't appreciate anything.
They only want to go on their cell phone.
But you actually look like you could still be 24 and like fit into the whole millennials thing. The music is fantastic. And I think one thing that maybe, I don't know if you were even aware of what a big gay audience you actually had back in the day, and coming now that you are re-emerging into the world and everything, like that's one thing that you need to make sure that you capitalize on, the fact that gay people love you.
Capitalize on that.
Yes, you capitalize on it.
Listen, my belief is we're all the same color. Our souls are the same color. Souls don't come in color. Did you know that? When we die and we leave our bodies, it's all the same color, honey. So there's no such thing, okay? And she doesn't have to capitalize on gay people.
I don't mean capitalize
that's
like
terrible.
that. But
all she has to do is show that gorgeous face in a gorgeous gown, singing a fabulous club song, and everybody loves her.
Absolutely.
And really, like you said, to me, it's like, if the gay people love you, you really have arrived. And because there is no, what do you want from me? So the thing is that you guys just want fabulousness. So be fabulous. And
right, you're 100% right. So
most people think gay guys hate women. That's such a misnomer. We do not hate women. We love women. But we only love women when they are the ultimate women. We don't like them when they grow fat and old and horrible and they don't take care of themselves. We look at those women and say, wow, what a waste. But when they look like you, we pay money to go sit and look at you, to look at your makeup, your hair, your gown, your voice. We love you. We're enchanted by you.
I do have to say, with the whole like white icon thing, all the white artists, they get old looking and they don't look good, and black don't crack, because every fabulous, every beautiful black artist, Angie B's gorgeous, Lily's gorgeous, she's
and Doris
gorgeous.
Day stayed beautiful till she's
okay,
92.
But
that's an exception.
And Peggy
that's
Lee
an exception. Even Chad said that's an exception.
Peggy Lee was beautiful until she died.
Do you know who Peggy Lee is?
Of course she knows Peggy Lee.
Okay.
Everyone knows.
Wait,
Peggy
so who are
Lee,
some
of jazz?
Who are some of the people that are out now that you're like, okay, like what kind of music do you listen to now? Like if you were driving down the radio, would you listen to Sirius? What channel would you listen to, or something?
Actually, honestly, I'm listening to I'll do a variety. You'll hear some Nina Simone, some.
Love Nina Simone. Love Nina. Oh.
What's her name? What's her name? I like her. Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, she's good.
How about Billie Holiday? Billie Holiday. Yeah. Who's a legend better than Billie Holiday?
First of all, Ron's older than he looks, so that's why when he talks about people, he doesn't know who any of the current people you're talking about are, because he's a child of the 40s.
I'm 78 years old, and I grew up with the greatest of jazz people. I hung out in the Village with all the jazz greats. I knew Earl Palmer, who was a fabulous drummer. I guess you don't know who Earl Palmer is, but he was.
She's young.
And I used to hang out over in the valley on Ventura Boulevard in a place called the Baked Potato. And the Baked Potato was a black jazz club. And I hung out
She
there.
knows that one.
Wait
She's
a minute.
smiling.
Red Fox used to come in, and all the great jazz people, a lot of white people in the business who were singers. We'd go there, and we'd jam with all the black people. And this was in the day, my dear, where you didn't tell people you did that because they'd call you a terrible word. Lover. And then we would get angry with them and say, no, we're just people lover.
Wow.
We're a people lover.
You said
I love it.
In your 70s, you look incredible.
He's 78.
78 years old, and I've seen it all, and I've been around. Now, my ultimate question, and I'm going to hang up and leave this room if you don't answer it correctly. What do you think of Patti LaBelle?
Oh, my God. Patti is fierce, and she's just the ultimate diva.
Can she sing? I mean, when Patti sings, I melt. When she hits those notes, nobody can hit. And she's still stunning, and she's exactly my age, 78 years old.
Hey!
She's up there working. But the only thing is that bitch won't come on our show. We can't get her. I don't know how come. I'm going to kill her. I'm really going to go. I'm going to go to the main line in Pennsylvania and drag her out of her house.
First of all, you can't call her a bitch. And
I say bitch with so much love behind it. You crazy.
So hold on. I want to do some promo with you.
To tell you guys something, because if you don't know of this new era, Childish Gambino is amazing. He's got a new show. His name is Donald Glover. He has a show called Atlanta. I think he won a Golden Globe, and he's a artist. He's the next guy. You guys hear it from me. He's incredible. So
it's
that's
a great
the new
show. Actually, I've streamed it. It's a great show. First of all, I want to tell people though. First of all, you guys, Karyn's on Twitter, so it would be great if you guys follow her. It's at Karyn's World. It's Karyn's KARYNS_world for her Twitter. She's got a website. It's Karyn'sWorld.me because she's got a Mac.
KarynWhite.me. Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it really? Oh, KarynWhite.me. Okay, and then you got to go to Gale in the Storm. What is it? GaleInTheStorm.com. And that way you can see her music. She's got a whole new soundtrack with the whole thing. It's going to be fabulous. And what I want to do is I want you to introduce it. We're going to play the trailer so everybody can see it real quick. So that way we can try and get people to go to it. So I want you to introduce it. Chad, do you have the trailer?
I do.
Okay, so you work on that. And before we do that, too, I just want to say, too, you guys, she's got so much stuff going on. She's in a BET sitcom, Beauty and the Baller. I guess that's coming out soon, or is that already out?
It already passed last year.
Oh, okay. I missed that one. How about American Bad Boy with Cat Williams?
That passed. I did that a couple of years ago. Yes.
Oh,
I've been working.
And she's going on tour in South Africa, UK, and Japan. Is that one real?
Yes. No, that's correct.
But wait a second. When are you coming to Palm Springs and entertain for us?
As soon as the promoter calls me. But let me tell you this.
Okay, tell us.
Call from Kathy Sledge. I know you guys know her.
Yeah, she was on our show. Kathy. We had her on the show. She's our very first TV show guest.
She's my other sweetie. I love Kathy. She's a dear.
Okay, so we're doing a show. Her, myself, and Denise Williams, the legend.
God. Let's hear it for the boy.
When you see Kathy,
Hang on, wait. She's telling us.
When you see Kathy,
tell her we love her.
When you see Kathy, just give her a kiss on the cheek and say that's from Ron Russell. Please, you have to kiss Kathy. She's an angel. I love her.
I'll say,
Let me tell you, August the 24th, my God, at the Bethesda Jazz Club in Maryland. So August the 24th, we're going to be there for one night. My sisters and me, Kathy Sledge, put this all together. Ooh. And we did this one time. We did it before in Connecticut. And Cece Pennis and myself, her and Denise, and it was incredible. So we're going to do it again, but Cece's not going to be there this time. But it's going to be an amazing show. We use the same band, and we have horn players that used to play with Beyonce, and it's just we all do our hits and we do a round robin, and it's awesome. It's a great thing, and then we come together and we sing, some stuff together. So it's really cabaret with,
So I'll tell you something. If you want, maybe a couple of weeks before it, if you want to get everybody to Skype in, we'll do a show promoting it, and all three of you guys, even if you're not in the same room, they can Skype from everywhere, and you can all come on, and we'll have everybody come on and Skype.
That's only on one condition, that you bring that show to Palm Springs. We have a theater here that seats 1,000-something people. It's magnificent, gorgeous. The stage is gigantic. If you bring that show here, you will be a sellout. The guys they will forget it. Will kill for you.
What's the name of the venue?
We have to figure
I'll find
it
out.
I
don't remember. Anybody in the chat room?
But even if you don't go, you can come on our show. All three of you. We'd love to have
place is
I know, but he loves it. So here's what we're gonna do. Chad, you got the video, right?
I do.
Okay, so Karyn, go ahead and introduce the video to Gale in the Storm. We're gonna play it for everybody.
All right, here is my new indie film, Gale in the Storm, bringing back the funk.
We have a very special guest in the house tonight, the lovely Miss Gale Storm.
Meet Gale Storm. Once the former lead singer of the Grammy-nominated band Eclipse. They were on top of the world, so she thought.
People love Eclipse because of our sound.
But still, we need to change with the times.
You a snake.
I'm a survivor. The secret to change is not worrying about your past. Focus on your future.
So what's next for the great Hannibal Shabazz?
Man, I'm putting together a super group. We bring back soul.
It's been a while since I've been on stage. Just hanging in with me.
You just need to fall back in love with singing again. This game is like a Venus flytrap. It closes on your ass real fast.
You quit right at the height of your career. Why come back now? I found out I got a whole lot more music left in me.
I just want to know if you can help me.
All right, what you need me to do?
Take over the world.
What kind of Hannibal are you? You got your good Hannibal, and then you got your Hannibal Lecter.
They see your rise and they just want to latch onto your coattail. They don't want clips, they want you.
I don't live in the past or the future. I live in the now.
Don't light it up unless you wanna burn it down. I am the storm, so get up, get back down. Don't light it up unless you wanna burn it down. I am the storm, so get up, get back down. And the people go,
I am the storm. I am the storm.
yeah.
I am the storm. There you go, great.
Okay.
Gail and the Storm!
You should stick around for the show, because it's going to be fun.
All right, there you go, Jimbo.
All right, everybody, so that's Karyn White's new film, Gale in the Storm. It's an indie film, and tell us, everybody, where we can see that again now.
You can see it at GaleandTheStorm.com, G-A-L-E and thestorm.com, or Amazon.com, Gale and the Storm.
There you go, everybody. And did you guys hear that music? Because that music was freaking amazing, and I know you wrote the new songs for it. So everybody, please support Karyn White and everything that she does, because we want her to be around entertaining us for a long time, because she is such a super talent.
And I'm going to work on getting you guys to Palm Springs, because I have some clout. I have clout in this town. Seriously, the theater I'm talking about, Jane Russell and two other ancient movie stars did a show there. It was a sellout. It's enormous. It's 3 balconies, beautiful, beautiful arena.
We're going to work on it.
But Kathy has to come too. And then I'm going to have a dinner party at my house for you girls. I'm going to cook you Italian food, and I'm going to hug and kiss you and hug and kiss my Kathy. And who else?
Denise
Williams.
Oh, Denise. Oh, my God.
Is that a great one? I would love it.
Holy shit. Denise Williams.
So now,
she sang with Johnny Mathis, a wonderful song.
So,
oh, my God.
So now
that's going to be a night to remember, sweetie pie.
All right, so now Karyn, now you see there's somebody else on the line. We want to introduce you. He was the former lead singer of Worlds Apart. They sold 10 million records worldwide. He's a huge fan of yours. He just wrote a new book. I don't know if you're mentioned in it or not, but
in there.
You are mentioned in it, and I want to introduce you to the incredibly talented, super cool guy. His name is Aaron Paul.
Hey,
Oh my God! You don't even. I waited like 25 years to be in your presence. I'm serious.
Oh my gosh!
Only news.
Tell me about your book.
Well, my book is about my life. You know, basically from a kid till now, the present day. It's like a guide for anybody in the entertainment industry. There's experiences in there. It's a fun, witty kind of read, but it kind of talks about the navigating through the industry, just as you spoke about earlier with Jimmy and Ron, because this game it's not easy, you know.
Oh, nice.
So if I can teach somebody else an easier path, then that's why I wrote the book. But you're in there.
Yes, that's what.
Aaron, do you know how much? Aaron, do you know how much I love you?
So
when I tease you, I hope you don't get upset, because Chad got upset with what I said. People don't know that you call me Uncle Ron, and that's an honor. And I love you to pieces.
Wait, though. I
miss you terribly.
I want to know, what does it say in the book about Karyn White?
Well, when I was a kid, we used to do talent shows in the little groups I was in. So we used to perform your songs in those talent shows. So I think you're like on page 13. It mentions that it was a performance that we sang Karyn White songs, Bobby Brown. It was the early 90s, so you guys were killing it.
Yes.
Well, look at that, Karyn. You made page 13. Jeez.
Aaron, what page am I on?
So I used to sing your song, Love Story.
See, you cut it right off.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So let me hear you. I used to think that yeah.
Was a thing that I never dreamed of.
Oh my God, he's singing to Karyn White.
Karyn, I would love to sing that song of you one day. It would make my dreams come true. I'm seriously.
Wow. Okay, so you live in you're from the UK and
I'm from the UK. I live in New York.
But with your childhood, you grew up in London or
in the UK, yeah. And I was too young to come and see you. You performed at Hammersmith Odeon.
Yes.
Remember? I was too young to come and see. My mum wouldn't let me go.
Wow.
Terrible mom. What a terrible mom.
I mean, like London is such, I call London, the tastemakers, because to me, real music, you guys, every genre, you guys are always ahead. And my band, I have a band that I call my UK band, and I love them. They're so professional, and I mean, they are just, really trained and on it. So really, shout out to my London band.
Well, Karyn, you still have a very, very loyal, huge fan base in the UK. I mean, you are one of the legends. I mean, seriously.
Yes,
and,
I played at the jazz club, the what's it called? The Jazz Cafe.
Jazz Cafe?
3 times, so I should be coming back. So
yeah, well, London is waiting for you. You've never been forgotten, Karyn, and there's an audience out there for you still.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Ron. You hear that? You never will be forgotten, and that's what I'm talking about. When I went,
you know what? Good. Listen, Karyn. Good is never forgotten. Bad is forgotten, but good is never forgotten.
Now, Karyn, I used to have to find girlfriends of mine at that time that looked like you.
Give me a break, a girlfriend, you big sissy.
I was trying
you
to
big sissy girl. What girlfriends? What were you, a lesbian?
Well, back then, though, like when you were in the boy band.
What were you, a lesbian then, you little trashette?
What's going on, Uncle Ron?
But listen, honey.
I had to have a girlfriend that looked like Karyn White. Trust
me.
Listen.
You guys know I've always had the big hair, so she had to have big curly hair, huh?
Get the hair.
Aaron, when are you coming to visit us in Palm Springs, puta?
I'm coming, me and Eileen, we're coming in July, right? I think we're coming in.
Oh, it's so hot here in July. What are you out of your mind? It's like 120. You melt.
That's okay. They're gonna come when we have when we set up the show for Karyn White.
I'm gonna have a big party,
and everybody. They're all gonna fly out for that.
Now listen, Aaron. I just learned some very impressive news about you. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
No.
He can't.
No,
we're not. I don't think we're allowed to yet. No,
we can't talk about it. But anyway, everybody out there.
No, we're not doing it.
Oh, we're not doing it.
We're not doing it. Just don't keep it. Yeah,
oh
keep it
shit,
yourself.
That was gonna be so good.
Anyway, so listen up, everybody. First of all, you can follow Aaron Paul on Twitter, too. He's at APaulMusic on Twitter. You definitely have to follow Karyn. She's Karyn, KARYNS_world. We want everybody to go see Gale in the Storm. What else you got going, Karyn, that we can promote to people?
Well, let me see. Besides that, the soundtrack. You can get the soundtrack at KarynWhite.me. Or iTunes. So the soundtrack is funky. We talked about that. And I'm singing, I was inspired to, you guys remember who Betty Davis, was married to Miles Davis,
yes,
the nasty gal. So I really take on this whole raunchy, edgy. So I just want you guys to know that it's not, because some of my fans will be like, oh, we want to see you be fabulous. This is more of a funk singer. So she's a little raw and edgy. So, but the soundtrack is really dope. I think you guys are liking. Oh my God, my daughter's calling me. Sorry, you guys.
That's okay. It's live, so we're live. We take it all. And from what I wrote down, you guys, there's 8 songs on the soundtrack. It's cosmic funk, soul, rock, and R&B. And the name of the album is Gale. It's soundtrack for Gale in the Storm.
And what's your fan club contact?
My fan club contact? Just KarynWhite.me. That's where I am the president of the fan club. And I will definitely, I send out. I love today's world though, because before I used to have my nieces doing that. So you got to be hands on. I love it. I get to know people immediately. Yeah. But I don't honestly. I don't really read a lot of the stuff on the blogs and the Twitters and the stuff like that, because I don't really have thick skin yet. It's getting better, but
so age will make it better. Age will make it better. And also, Aaron loves hands-on, don't you, Aaron?
Absolutely.
So hang on, no, and also, so Karyn, we want everybody to go listen, you guys. Karyn's got all kinds of music on iTunes, but I bet she doesn't get paid from all of them. So, what's the best albums they should buy that you benefit the most directly?
Look at you, Ron. You are loving it. Okay, Carpe Diem, Seize the Day. This was, let me put it up. This one, look at me, you guys. This is me. I was trying to channel my whole Black Maryland.
Oh my God, are you gorgeous?
Wait, hold it right. It's reflecting.
It's fabulous.
Bring it into the camera. Bring it all the way up to the camera.
I don't even know. Is this?
Oh my God, look how gorgeous, how hot you look.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Okay.
So that
That's like the lady sings the blues.
Yes, and I
It's
released
totally the lady sings the
on my
blues.
label, and then also, the Gail.
and
Bring it up, bring it close. Okay.
That's the soundtrack for Gale in the Storm, everybody.
Wow.
Because we want you to make money on things that you sell and not things from that you did a long time ago. If you don't benefit, we want you to. Plus, we want everybody to hear the new music. And the newest music.
And also, everybody buy Aaron's book because I know Aaron's mom, and we have spoken about when Aaron was young.
Karyn, I'll send you one, okay?
Wait, you've been sending me that book.
No, he's going to send Karyn one, not you.
Oh, I mean, I'm sick already of hearing you. You lied to me, you little tramp. You lied to me. You said it was in the mail. Your ass was in the mail. I never got my friggin' book.
Look at Karyn. She's like, holy shit. We know him very, very well,
I
Karyn.
love this boy.
He's like a member of the family.
He is my nephew. I am his uncle. I love this boy to pieces.
And I want to say, too, that I'm super happy because literally, Karyn, I mean, and Aaron has had much success. And we go out with him places and we meet all kinds of really big famous people and nobody ever phases him. For him to actually send me an email saying, is there any way that you could please let me talk to Karyn White? I would be so appreciative. And he was like, and he sent me all these emails, and I was like, we don't ever bring anybody in to help with our guests because that's what Ron and I do. But I was like, Aaron's part of the family. He must really want this for him to be sending me all these messages.
It's true.
And so you have really made an impact in his life, and I'm very happy that we could let you him say hi to you.
I said to Aaron, do you want to talk to Diana Ross? And he said, who's she?
There it is.
But Karyn White, he wanted to talk to. What can I tell you?
Well,
you gotta love it.
Means a lot, especially coming from someone that's in the entertainment industry. And I totally know what you mean. You usually don't, But there are these ones, and I'm so glad that, first of all, my music, but now my reemergence and just my person, my spirit. That's the most important thing, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Comes and goes, So I just, I hope that I was able to pour into you something that will keep you, driven and.
Absolutely.
Your best self,
you were the soundtrack of my teenage years, and I trained my voice off of you.
Wow.
So here's what we got to do, you guys.
One thing I want to tell her: I have learned in my life that singers that do not have anything other than a voice don't do it. But singers that give in their song themselves do it. And that's the trick to singing, is being you, bringing you out. And Aaron does that. When Aaron performs, he's all over the place. I mean, he grabbed a flag one time. What the hell he was doing with the flag? And I yelled at him after. I said, what are you doing with swinging an American flag around? But anyway.
Love it.
Aaron does from his soul.
From his heart.
Talk about soul singing. Aaron sings like, I don't know what. It's weird, but he's great.
So do you, Karyn. I mean, you're an amazing entertainer. I mean, you're all over the place as well, Karyn, right?
That's what I'm talking about. But you know what? It's for me. It's like you have to give it all. Leave, like James Brown said, leave it on the floor. And that's the way I perform. I don't want to. I'm wore out. You know, and I've been in a room, where Michael Jackson. I've seen him. Record, and it's like one take and he's done. And it's like he gives every ounce. And even Janet, these are these performers, Prince, that we know. So we come from that school.
Absolutely.
Tina Turner. You know what I'm saying? So I love that.
You can't, if you sing empty, the song is empty. I firmly believe that. My friend Johnny Mathis, who I happen to know and I love him. Johnny Mathis, when he sings a ballad, and we've talked about it, he said he leaves the planet and he sort of goes into the music and he becomes the song. And that's why he's so wonderful. When he sings, we melt because he's melting.
Gotta love it. So listen up, you guys, because we got to call Dr. Dre now. So we're getting ready to call Dr. Dre. So Karyn White, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show, and we definitely want to have you come back with Denise Williams and Kathy Sledge and help promote that show. And we will see if we can figure out a way to get you guys booked out here. That way we can have all you guys come to the house.
I'm not lying. I want you girls here. We're going to have such a blast. Winter season, because right now everybody leaves town.
Yeah, nobody's here in the summer. It has to be in
the fall and winter season. We're going to get you girls in that big auditorium, and then you're coming to my house.
And if we do, then Aaron's probably going to fly out here and stay in our house.
Absolutely.
Well, that depends. If I don't get my book, he doesn't go anywhere.
I mean,
So Karyn,
I'm
so
still
Aaron,
waiting for the book, Aaron.
So Aaron, we want to like say, you know, that we're happy that we worked it out that you got to speak with Karyn. Karyn, thank you for being so gracious.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest. You were open, you were delicious, you're delightful, you're beautiful, you're sweet, you're kind, you're charming, and guess what? You can sing also.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat room loves you.
Yeah, I do. I kind of love you too.
Oh, you know what? I feel like, you know, I love being around the wisdom and, you know, listening to, I mean, you guys were funny back and forth, but Ron, I will say that I can't wait to be up under you and hear these stories.
He's amazing.
And learn. I just know he's got just so much, you know.
I've got 58 years in the business. I've seen the biggest come and go. I've seen them kill themselves, die, deteriorate, become stars, stay, survive. I've seen it all. In fact, I'm starting to write a book. If I could remember half of the stuff that I remember.
So you guys follow both of them on Twitter because we have to go. And Karyn, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch.
And I'll see you in Palm Springs, Karyn.
Bye, you guys. See ya.
Bye.
Everybody in the chat room absolutely loved it.
Oh, you have to love her. She's enchanting. Now, where's that snot nose? Where's Snotty? Where'd he go?
No, he had to go. We have another guest. Like we
I
ran
wanted
into
to talk to Aaron about his
Hey, you
book.
guys! I hope you guys like that. Everybody in the chat room is writing how much they really, really enjoyed it. So I'm so glad everybody liked it. In the meantime, Chad,
wait, just let me say something. I wanted to say to Aaron. I have spoken to Aaron and his assistant writer about the book, and they have told me certain things about the book. I cannot wait to read the book, and I would suggest to everyone out there to get the copy of this book because it's like don't put down reading. You know, you don't want to put it down.
That's what B. Claudia said. She bought it.
Oh, B, how did she get the book and I didn't?
She paid for it. You're getting a complimentary
copy.
So
the freebies get it like a year from now. Aaron, you're dead. When I get to New York, I'm going to pull your hair out of your head. Oh,
all right, so hey, Chad, let's call our next guest. Let's play a song. Why don't we play whichever the songs are the shortest? How's that?
Allie?
Chad? Yeah, let's play Allie. Everybody, this is Allie Jocko, Working Man, and we're getting ready to call Dr. Dre. Woo.
It's a rough start soon as my feet hit the floor. Working up to dawn till I come back through the door. I break my back 7 days a week to build a house and make you my queen. Give you everything you ever wanted and give you more. I work for it, sweat for it. Every night and day, girl, anything for you. Won't stop, you're so hot. Giving you a world that was built with these two hands. Baby, I'm your working man. I'm working, I'm a hard working man. Yes, I am. I got a good reason to go the extra mile. Shooting for the moon just to see you smile. I'm like a train going down the line. This engine's running on overtime. Not gonna stop, baby, till I drive you wide. I work for it, sweat for it. Every night and day, girl, anything for you. Won't stop, you're so hot. Giving you a world that was built with these two hands. Baby, I'm your working man. I'm working, I'm a hard working man. Yes, I am. I work for it, I sweat for it. Every night and day, girl, anything for you. Won't stop, too hot. Giving you the world, you know I love to. I work for it, sweat for it. Every night and day, girl, anything for you. Won't stop, you're so hot. Giving you a world that was built with these two hands. Baby, I'm your working man. I'm working, I'm a hard working man. Yes, I am. Gonna turn off the phone, turn down the lights, gonna
All right, Jimbo, there you go.
The name of the song is Working Man. Dr. Dre, say something. Let's make sure we can hear you.
Hey, can you hear me? I hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Yay! All right, I'm going to do a formal introduction for everybody. So now, everybody, we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the iconic, celebrated hip-hop entertainer and educator, Dr. Dre. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hey, guys, how you doing? I was just enjoying that song, Hard Working Man.
There you
reminds
go.
me of myself.
I believe it does. Absolutely. So, and it's a cool show. It's a cool song. It's from the UK. So let me introduce you to somebody. First, we got my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Now, I've been hearing all this stuff about you, how fabulous you are, how great you are. Eileen is carrying on. I love him. He's wonderful. Jimmy's saying, oh, I can't wait to get him on the show. Well, you're here, and you better be great. You better answer the questions, and you better be everything they said you are, or else, guess what? I won't like you.
Oh, man, that's rough.
Let me tell you something. I have $1 in your pocket right now, so you're going to like me. Trust me.
You know what? I wish I had $1 in my pocket. We don't have a sponsor. We don't get paid. I work for free. Jimmy has me under his spell.
I'm sorry. You got to put it on my tab then.
So let me introduce you. We got the man behind the boards. He's in Florida. He runs our show. His name is Chad Murphy. So say hello to Chad.
Hey, Chad.
Dr. Dre, it is a pleasure to have you. Welcome.
What's going on? Hey, Chad.
Good
It's
stuff.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
Watch yourself there, pal.
There we go. We have a chat room actually full of people, and every country is represented. There's a few people, too, who you know, because Aaron Paul's in the chat room, and Billy Hess is in the chat room, who's saying
Aaron
hello.
Paul's one of my favorites.
Yes, Aaron Paul's one of our favorites, too.
Right
Billy
on.
Hess, the photographer's in the chat room, and Eileen's in the chat
Billy.
room.
Hey, Billy, say hi to Mark for me.
And we have every country represented, so just say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hey, everybody around the world in the chat room. You know, we're here representing the best way we can all around the world for the rock.
Yeah, you go. You gotta love it. So everybody, in case you don't know who Dr. Dre is, which you might not if you're really young and dumb, but Dr. Dre is everything. He's like the creator of pop culture, DJ, composer, talent, scout, program, host, actor, author, critic. And you guys remember Yo MTV Raps with Ed Lover? He's the founder of that. He basically put hip-hop on the map, and we're so excited to have you, so welcome to the show.
Wow, I mean, I got to give you a couple more dollars. That was a great intro there.
I
You
handle
looked
the
up
money.
curator, dog walker,
Father.
Listen
Brown.
here.
I mean, I did a few things.
Wait, listen up. Any money exchange, you give it to me.
Oh,
I handle the money. I handle the money in this family.
Rob knows a guy who knows a guy sitting next to a guy. I got you, Rob.
Yeah, there you go. Ron, you gotcha.
What? He
That's
called
funny.
me Rob. I'm going to kill him
No,
now.
Ron.
I thought he called
I
me
said
Rob.
Rob.
come on.
Okay, listen, I'm 78 years old. I can't hear. I can't pee. I can't pee.
Oh.
I can't do anything anymore. I walk around in a coma.
Hey, Ron, don't get angry at 78-year-olds. We're all going to get there one day.
Hopefully, yeah, I'm here. It's okay. It's good. It's good.
We're going to make it to 78 school.
I
Yeah.
love it. So you're in New York now, right?
My
Yes, I am.
hometown.
Yes,
I want to just brag a little because you got besides all the great stuff that you've accomplished, and we're going to bring on some of that. You got new stuff. You're always working. You got great stuff, and you got 2 different shows. One of them's called Flesh Wound, and one of them's called Two Blind Mics. Why don't
Yes.
you tell us a little bit about them so we can help promote them?
Oh, it's real easy. Dr. Dre's Flesh Wound is a show where we showcase different talent. We talk about stories from political to adult film stars to great musicians, great artists performing, and we just have great social commentary. And I got a great caster that works with us there, and it makes the show very, very palatable. We're like a free form. I hate to use the word radio because it's not really radio. It's more like internet broadcasting, and that's what I feel it is. And the whole goal was to actually be able to bring back playing music across the ages and not have anybody worried about it. Just let the music be the music and let the people enjoy it and have fun talking to some of the great guests that we've had. And then we have a show called Two Blind Mics, which my partner, Superhero Sensei T. Reed, in the house. We're both blind. So we do the show. He lives in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. I live here in Westbury, New York. And we do the show over the phone and over all different type of technologies and interview all types of guests. And recently we just did this whole big thing on the Yo MTV Raps 30th anniversary experience that happened in New York on June 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. So now
Ron's
we're
from
on-
Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Yes, that's right. We're shooting the legs of that to become a pilot because everybody keeps saying, "Yo, I love listening to what you guys doing, but we want to see you. We want to see you." And we always do the rib thing, going, "Well, we can't see you, so you shouldn't see us." But anyway, no, we're in the process of shooting the pilot in the next 2 months. So there's quite a few people asking for it, so we don't even know where it's going to end up. But again, being that Two Blind Mics that you can get it anywhere you get your podcast, you can pull it up and you can check out some of our fun stuff, some of our serious stuff, some of everything, because it's a pretty good podcast.
I love it. I also
Okay,
we
so
love
now,
the Poconos.
For our visually impaired people that are watching, listening, or some watching because they have some vision, do
Yes.
you have it? Do you have any vision?
My vision is, put it this way, my vision is universal. It's as dark as night, but yet I see everything.
Right.
If
so
you
that-
understand what I'm saying. It's,
Oh, no,
Absolutely.
you can get, you can see more with listening and touch and feel than you can ever see with just your two eyes. Because some people, like they have this little problem down at our southern border where some people thought it was one person's issue and it really was another person's issue. So today he signed a decree saying, "Oh, we can't separate families." You know what? I may not be able to see, but I know when right is right and when wrong is wrong.
There you go.
My grandmother had diabetes, and in her late 80s, she became blind from her diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up as a kid taking care of my grandmother while my mother went to work, when I came home from school and stuff. So I know my grandmother used to say to me, I know more than you know. I hear I see through my, she said it in Italian, I see through my ears, she said.
Yes, we do.
She said, I know everything that you know. I don't miss anything. I said, amazing.
I go to movies, I go to shows, and I have great people around me like Heidi. I got Heidi's ear around me that takes me and does everything for me. She's amazing when it comes to that. We got a great staff that works on Flesh Wound, from GI, Diamond Shell, from Anthony Shelton, from Dawn Michelle, from DJ C Knows, and the list goes on and on and on. Of course, my partner in crime, the reason I call him Sensei is because he's the gentleman that brought me out of the dark of the technology and actually plugged the technology in my hand and showed me that we are only as incapable as we allow ourselves to be.
That's very good.
I know,
very good.
I know people who are totally sighted and everything, and they're incapable. Now, this is the question I want to ask you. How and why and what made you do what you do now, having a disability and knowing the world is like not really, what's the word I could use, accepting disabled people. For some reason, disabled people are always pushed aside. And
well, that's very simple. We got to remember something. People in general are ignorant and people fear what they don't know. And the beautiful thing about what we're doing here is we're here to enlighten everybody to what they can do and what they will be able to do. See, I don't believe in the contractions. I believe in doing, not don't. I believe I can, not can't.
That's why you've accomplished so much.
Well, that's why you're the superstar you are. Because
come on, I'm not even close to Jimmy Star right there.
Are you serious, Jimmy Star?
Close.
I'm married. I'm married to Jimmy Star. Let me tell you, he's a little nice guy. He's no big deal.
Thanks.
He's okay. He's okay. He just blows a big horn. But
no, I also heard though that you're working on a new video series. And it's supposed to be kind of like a Dr. Oz meets Dr. Dre type of show revolving around, the fact that you have type 2 diabetes and I guess being more helpful for people who have type 2 diabetes.
Well, what we did is from the help of my friend Dr. Ulysses Jackson, PhD. He's a research doctor, and he and I got together and we started putting together this other podcast. It's called Doctor to Doctor. We were trying to emulate what Dr. Oz did, but we were trying to put it to our level so we could show people other remedies beside what you go through the normal pharmaceuticals that you can actually treat and help take care of yourself in a better way, because everything that we put on Hummingbird is all natural. And you can go to Amazon and look up Hummingbird and you can see our pain relief, you can see our detox, you can see merengue, Medina, which we call the hammer. You can check all of it out there, and believe me, it does work. So most people, we run to the doctor and the doctor gives us a pharmaceutical, swipe in the pen and writes a prescription and says, hey, just keep taking this for the rest of your life. For me, I wanted to dig deeper, and I am exploring so many different angles of many different things as far as weight control, as far as making yourself feel better, eat better, be a part of a better lifestyle so you don't get stuck, just being, as you say, handicapped. I say handicapable.
Right. Now, your sight, was that due to diabetes?
Yeah, it was due to diabetes, but I didn't lose it because of diabetes. I had an operation where they were trying to do what's called retinopathy, and they reattached the retinas to my eyes, and they said there may be an opportunity where you may lose it. But I have what they call scar tissue behind this, where the light comes into your eye, so I get very big pulses of light sometimes, and sometimes my vision pops back in because I'm taking certain I don't want to say drugs, but they're things that are helping me get my sight back in that fashion.
I love it.
That's wonderful. That's what you have to share with people, because I know so many friends. I'm 78, so many of my friends are type 2 diabetes, and they got it like late in life, and they don't know how to handle it. So they shoot a lot of insulin, and they think that's the answer. They'll eat like a big chocolate cake and then shoot insulin. That's not the answer.
But
tell us what the answer is to.
There is no answer, because I can't sit there and proclaim a cure. I can say there's just ways to walk things back, and that's being more conscious of what you put in, and you have to be careful of what you're also injecting to yourself. You have to really sit with your doctors, because every person is different. You can't sit there and make a one. We in America we try to say, oh, this one thing will cure everything, and it really doesn't. That's why we have such a big opiate abuse. That's why I hooked up with Dr. Ulysses Jackson, because he did a whole research program about the opiate abuse that happens out here on Long Island, and the striking numbers and why people actually went to that. And it was the pharmaceutical companies that actually put everybody back on that track. Well, remember, in the late 70s, we had gotten rid of heroin and all that stuff. That was out of the door. Everybody was going to marijuana and weed. Yes, indeed. That's why we should legalize it. But the whole point of the matter is that you got to really find a way to find your zero. You got to bring yourself back to zero. Because type 2 diabetes is curable. It is treatable. Now, I don't want to say the word cure, because everybody gets upset. Can't say cure. Can't say cure. But it is treatable. And you can reverse the effects of type 2 diabetes.
Now, do you take insulin?
Yes, I do.
Do you take the long term as well as the fast acting?
No. I take the long term.
And how many units do you shoot?
21.
And that holds you all day long?
All day.
And then of course you eat properly.
I'm decreasing. I have a doctor's appointment in 2 weeks, and I'll be decreasing again, because I'm getting off of that, because your body does produce the insulin, but there's other stuff that I know how to do to help restart your insulin flow to bring your sugars down. And there's an easier way to bring your sugars down more than anything else. You cut your carbohydrates down. You put the chocolate cake to the side. You drink a hell of a lot more water, and you do simple things like I do in the morning. As it was designed by my late friend, Mr. Dick Gregory and Dr. B. We started with just 3 string beans in the morning. He said, Dre, let me ask you something, Dre. You like string beans? I said, yeah, I like string beans. He said, no, raw string beans. He said, what I want you to do is I want you to eat 3 string beans a day, just 3. Then I want you to drink this okra water. I said, what the hell is okra water? He said, you get yourself some okra, you cut the tips off, you put it in a mason jar, about 20 ounces of water. You get yourself one of them bottles of waters you drink every day, and you pour it in there and you put it in the refrigerator. Next day, you go out there and you drink the water, and you do that for 3 days. Every time you do it, once in the morning and once at night. And that'll help start getting rid of the toxins in your body. The biggest thing with diabetes and everything that goes on with us, why our bodies are doing what we're doing, is we've been poisoned. We've been poisoned by the people who said they were giving us natural and healthy food. They haven't been. And it's been a long time. So when you walk into a grocery store, if you pull something off the shelf and there's a bunch of ingredients in it, put it back up there. And as Dr. B told me, he said, Dre, I want you to go over to the produce section, and I want you to grab yourself some string beans. I want you to grab yourself some cauliflower. I want you to grab yourself some kale. Do you see any ingredients written on the side of that? I said, no. He said, that's what you should be eating.
Wait, before we move on with this, may I say something? My grandmother was born when Abraham Lincoln was shot, okay?
Really?
Yes, she had my mother when she was like 48 years old. It was a change of life baby. My grandmother was from Italy. My grandmother never opened a can, a frozen package of any kind. As a kid, I used to go to the chicken market with her. She'd get a fresh chicken. All her vegetables came from the vegetable man. My grandmother ate the best way. She was a tiny 4'9" little skinny lady, and she developed diabetes. Now, how did that happen? I mean, she wasn't toxic,
Remember then, if you drink soda, if you drink juice, if you drink anything with preservatives in it of that nature, we don't know the exact causes yet. We really don't, but we understand how to treat it. That's the biggest thing. Knowing the causes is half the battle. In other words, she may not have ate anything out of a can or anything frozen or anything of that nature. Because I know I grew up around a lot of Italian grandmothers, and my family's from Jamaica, and my grandmother was Jamaican, and she died of cancer. So yeah, we do know of those certain effects. But that's what I said. Everybody's body is different and reacts to certain things. So we don't know what may have kicked it, depending on what kind of diabetes she had, also. So I bet you
she had type 2. She developed it at about 75 or 78.
Or was she starting to eat, like, did she go out to restaurants?
No, she was an old Italian. What restaurant? My grandmother wouldn't go to a restaurant. Everything was fresh, homemade.
Where did she get her ingredients from? You got to remember something.
Well, in the summertime,
even though you go to a vegetable guy, you got to remember something. These people spray chemicals and things on your food that we don't even know. They don't even let you know that. And you can wash it off all day long, but if it's in the ground, and if it was in the sky, you're still going to be ingesting it.
Chad's all about that,
but
right,
wait
Chad?
a minute. This was, I'm talking now back in the late 1940s and early 50s, when most of the stuff was grown on Long Island, because we lived on Long Island.
They were still using pesticides that were unregulated by the government at that time. Remember, there was no FDA at that time. So they were just trying to do whatever they got to do to get the food out.
Good point.
You got to love it.
It's very good.
Refrigeration and the way we deal with food today wasn't the way they dealt with food back then, but they still use pesticides to actually grow their products and to make sure that the products wouldn't go bad. They still did things to keep the animals and the pests away. Yeah, they did.
Well, I'm happy that you said this on our show, because there are so many young people today with type 2 and type 1 diabetes. It's really epidemic, and I want everybody out there to listen. If you know somebody that has diabetes, sit them down, talk to them, and listen to what this guy has to say. He knows what he's talking about.
There you go.
I appreciate that.
So let's talk music a little bit. So you're MTV Raps. From what I've heard from people, is you basically love all kinds of music. You listen to every kind of music. What do you think of the evolution of music from the time of MTV Raps till now? Like, do you like the way it's evolved?
No, it's not a like or dislike. Remember, music is always evolutionary. The beautiful thing is I was born in 1963 with the great artists like James Brown, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Marvin Gaye, the Motown sound, the Stax sound, all those different sounds. And it was all music to me. When I listened to the radio, it was everybody fused together. So everybody was trying to get their own place in history on the charts. But the thing that was always unique about it is the soundtrack for my life was always a mixture. There was never, oh, this was rock and roll. Oh, this was soul music. Oh, this was this. It was all music to me.
Yeah.
It was, and that's what made it so enjoyable. So when you talk about today's what's going on today, I can never criticize what these young new artists are doing in that fashion, because if they got an audience and they got people buying it and they're repeating what they're saying, they're doing the right thing. They're speaking to their audience. But me, I'm a Frank Sinatra fan as well as I'm an LL Cool J fan. It doesn't matter to me. I get down with everybody because I enjoy music, and that's always been my background.
What a great
wait
answer.
a second. What do you think of the queen of music, Patti LaBelle?
What do I think of the queen of music? Come on, don't mess with Patti.
Patti LaBelle.
She'll kick off her shoes and start selling us sweet potato pies.
and they're delicious
that we've ever had. Excuse me?
They're delicious, her pies. I got the blueberry one. It weighed about 10. It weighed 10 pounds. I never saw such a heavy pie. I adore Patti LaBelle. She's my ultimate singing star. I could listen to her, and I do listen to her for hours and hours. Nobody hits the notes she hits. She's a violin in her throat.
Ron likes Patti LaBelle and Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Mathis. I love Johnny Mathis.
I love him more than you do, because I was around when he first started. I watched him on television.
Didn't matter. Johnny Mathis was the voice of Velvet. What can we say?
He's
talking about unforgettable
voice of soul.
Cole. Come on. You know, I mean, when you talk about Patti LaBelle, an artist like that, that was someone that was cultivated over a long period of time. That was like equating Mavis Staples and the Staple Singers. These artists were built on performance. That's what they did. Going in the studio was a way to actually put their prowess for us to listen to later.
But Patti was born with a voice. She was born with a voice, Patti LaBelle.
Absolutely.
She didn't cultivate that voice.
No, but she came from the Bluebells, and then from the Bluebells she became LaBelle, and the history goes on and on and on. That's why we all like Lady Marmalade so much, and other stuff that Patty's done all around. Did you realize that it was the Beverly Hills soundtrack that Patti LaBelle's the only artist on that soundtrack with 2 songs?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Actually, I think you know a lot of things that we don't know because
Yeah.
I was like,
Wait, did you ever meet Patty?
I've met Patti LaBelle so many times. That's why
What's she like?
She doesn't
as a
allow
person?
me to eat a sweet potato pie. She said you can't have any.
Well, she's a diabetic also.
Yeah, but she's a wonderful woman, grand personality, and she's always trying to help people. And that's the beautiful thing about her.
That's
why
what I
she's
heard.
so blessed.
Everyone
like
I've
her.
asked said the same thing. Even what's her name when I asked her? Kathy Sledge, because who I know Kathy, and Kathy knows Patty, and she was supposed to bring Patty to my house when I lived in the East Coast for dinner, but we never got that going. And I think I would have dropped dead cooking for Patti LaBelle. I would have just had her sing for me while I was cooking.
I'll mess you up. When I was younger, much younger, before we are family, and before he's the greatest dancer. My brother and my cousins, we all met the Sister Sledge before they hit their big songs in Philadelphia. Yeah,
I
don't think she'd recognize me today, or maybe she might. But yeah, I met them when they were just putting their stuff together in Philadelphia, and they were singing. They're also a very hardworking, performance-based group. Sister
Kathy
Sledge.
has a lovely husband. She lives in Newtown, Pennsylvania, with kids and stuff.
He was so excited when he met her.
Oh,
wasn't
God,
he?
I love her.
We meet like all these like Academy Award winners and Grammy winners.
Listen,
and stuff.
I was best friends with Jane Russell. I knew Robert Mitchum, all those
Hey,
people.
Jane Russell.
My best friend, and we hung out. And when I met Kathy Sledge, I was screaming, Jimmy, get over here, get over here, look who's here, like a kid jumping up and down. And Kathy thought I was crazy.
Okay. So
wondered why. You were the greatest dancer. How about that?
I was.
So you've got a stellar career. You're continuing to open new doors and do new things. Do you have like a bucket list of like, okay, I've worked with like almost every major person in music on the planet. Is there somebody that you're like, this is the one person that got away and I haven't had an opportunity to do anything with? You got anybody on your bucket list you're like, oh, I'd really like to work with this person?
No, I was blessed to do some things with Prince before he passed away. I met Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 many times in my life. There's so many people I do want to touch and do something with. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on a quiet project with one of my heroes in music and one of the greatest songwriters and performers to ever sit behind a piano, and that would be Stevie Wonder. And if anyone I wished I could have done something with, it would have been probably Ray Charles. And it's not really the blind thing that I would say it is that I really understand the genius of their music. I understand the genius of certain artists like a Tina Marie, who could really sing and perform really well. I understood the genius of Rick James. I understand I'm one of those people that just, I love music and I love a lot of people. I mean, I wish I could step back in time and hang out with the original Temptations and the Four Tops and watch that whole thing. And the
Absolutely.
Supremes, when it became Diana Ross and the Supremes. That was such an energy and such a juggernaut of what we did when it came to rap music / hip hop also, because we always idolized those people. And when we decided to do what we were doing, we were trying to get an attention that we couldn't get from the traditional way music was being dealt with at the time. That's why we took it to the street. We became street DJs, we became MCs and rappers, and we decided to do it just our own way and decided to defy what was being said, what we could and could not do. A la Chic with the song La Freak.
Oh, love it.
They defied the way they wanted to do it their way. And I mean, I'm a big fan of Nile Rodgers, would love to work with Nile Rodgers. I mean, there's so many people out there. And you know why? I just smile and I just like to go, wow. I mean, I want to do a song with Herbie Hancock, something like Rocket, because when I did one of my songs for Original Concept, a song called Pump That Bass, all I thought about is, how can I make a better Rocket? And then I stopped trying to make a better Rocket, and I said, I'm going to just do Pump That Bass, and it worked out the same for me.
But it was a struggle for black people, performers. Go back to when I was a young boy, maybe 14 or 15 years old. There was a singing group called the Ink Spots.
Yes.
Do you know the Ink Spots? Are you familiar? If I didn't care for you, that song. Yes. If we played it on our portable radio, walking to the park, white people would say, get those off the radio.
Of course.
You cannot listen.
The real king of rock and roll was Chuck Berry, who recently just passed away, and Little Richie. They're the true architects, and not only the architects, but the founders of that music, along with Fats Domino, who recently just passed away.
No, but you're going ahead of time. I'm going way back in the 50s.
I'm going back. This is
When
in the 50s.
that's more early 60s. When Lena Horne was in a film and she sang, she was not permitted to look at the camera. She looked up the sky or down. You know why?
Because she did Stormy Weather.
No, because a white man.
until she did Stormy Weather's, right?
Wait, because a white man sitting in the theater might think she's flirting with him, and that was disgusting, and that's why they didn't do it. Now, I happen to know two black guys that are dancers, and they're very famous dancers on Warner Brother movies. The one guy I know, and I can't think of his name because it's got a weird name, but you know who they are. They're very famous.
The Nicholas Brothers?
The Nicholas Brothers, but the one that was still alive, he just passed away not maybe 5 or 7 years ago. I knew him. What was his name? Like Amand, something like that, a weird name. And he told. And he was a sweetheart. What a dresser, my God. I told him he should be on GQ magazine. He was like 80-something and wore the most in a suit and a
Actually, we should tell because he doesn't. So just so you know, like, because Ron is kind of like a classic movie aficionado. He had a show called Set the Record Straight where he interviewed all the legends: Jane Russell, Tab Hunter, Lauren Bacall,
all the biggies,
all the biggies. And he knows he sees every Turner Classic movie ever. So that's kind of the era that he's
right. So I
super involved in.
Ron, were you ever blessed with interviewing the great one, Sammy Davis Jr., the man who set it all up for all of us?
I met him at the Copacabana nightclub. Guess what? We had a ringside table to see Diana Ross and the Supremes, okay? This is when they were starting off, baby, whatever. And suddenly, a man comes and sits at our table, and his back is to me. And I thought, what fucking nerve is this? Who the hell is he? He's coming and sitting at our table. It turned around, it was Sammy Davis Jr.
He's the architect. Sammy is the architect for the entertainment world forever.
He was the nicest guy you ever want to meet in your life. He was a regular Joe. He was terrific.
Actually, I have a story about that. It's going to be a quick one because we've only got a couple minutes. But when I was a little kid, I got to throw the baseball out at the Atlanta Braves game. I was the opening pitch of the season. And afterwards, then I went into the dugout, and like everybody was standing around because there was somebody in the dugout signing autographs, and I had no idea who it was because I was like 8 years old or something. I was like really little, and I went in there and they signed a baseball for me, and I took it out and I said hello to him, and he was like a petite black man, and I went up to my dad and said, "Look, I just met this guy. His name's Sammy Davis Jr." And that was who actually signed. It was in the dugout with the whole team, and it was the coolest thing ever. And I wish I would have been older so I would have known who he was. Because then I probably wouldn't have gotten rid of the baseball, realizing that like I had such a huge collectible item that I would have loved to sit on my desk.
It wasn't in the collection. You know what it was? It was you were blessed with his presence because
absolutely
he was there and you were there, and that was a blessing in itself. Believe me. Because when I was a youngster, I was at a theater here called Westbury Music Theater. Westbury Music Fair, excuse me, and James Brown was performing. This was in the late 60s, like 69, 70, and the place was packed and it was crazy. And my father brought me backstage to meet James Brown because at this time he had a house in Queens, in St. Albans, Queens, which was right down the block from my grandmother's house. And we always used to stand out there and he used to give away 45 records to everybody. Here's a record, here's a record. So you ring the doorbell, you get a record. So every time I would see my grandmother, we'd ring the bell to get a 45. It was the best thing. But I mean, we meet these kind of iconic people like Sammy, and I did have the blessing to meet Sammy Davis twice in my life because they would come into my community out here in Newcastle and Westbury, and they would come to the community centers and they would sit and they would talk to people, they would perform a little bit, they would give us encouraging words. Same thing like Muhammad Ali, aka Cassius Clay, he did the same thing.
Yeah, I met him too.
Our community. So one reason to make sure that we understood there's a better road to take than just trying to take a fast life, that everything is about hard work. So they instilled that in me from the beginning since I was a youngster. So I always had that drive in me to continue doing what I'm doing.
Fantastic.
That's why I'm doing.
You know,
Beautiful
I
story.
lived on Long Island.
We got 1 minute.
Most of my life, I lived in Garden City for years, and I know Westbury. Yeah, and I know Westbury well, and I know the Westbury Music Fair. Johnny played there a couple of times. Johnny Mathis. Yeah, and I would go see him, and then see him in the green.
My grandmother would drag me to go watch Johnny Mathis. That's how I know it.
Drag you have to drag me away from him. I love him so much.
So hang on, you guys.
You're 7 years old, and the Jackson 5 are your heroes. Johnny Mathis is like, oh, come on, please. But then when he got with Denise Williams, boy, oh boy, Too
We're
much.
gonna have her on our show.
We're having Denise.
We're gonna have her on the show soon. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So listen up, everybody. First of all, Dr. Dre's on Instagram, and he's also on Twitter. It's at Dr. Dre 39. Make sure you write Dr. out.
Dr. Dre Flesh Wound on Instagram. Dr. Dre 39 on Instagram. We got Dr. Dre 39 on Twitter. Dr. Dre Flesh Wound on Twitter also. And you can always go to Dr. Dre Brown on Facebook and check us out. And please feel free to become a friend.
There you go. And you guys check out Flesh Wound and Two Blind Mics. And we want to also thank Heidi Z. I know she's there someplace. She's just fabulous. We love Heidi Z. Heidi, thank you so much. I had the best conversation with her ever. We're gonna bring you back. Maybe one day we'll do a show where we can Skype from like when you guys have everybody from your whole staff on, and we'll talk to everybody and do a big show promoting the whole thing.
Oh, that'll be cool. Definitely.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Got a lot of surprises coming up for 2018, and there's still a lot of year left.
All right, so Dr. Dre, thank you so much. Heidi, thank you so much. We will see you soon, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
And thank you for all your advice on diabetes. Thank you again. Thank
all
you
right,
so
Dr.
much.
Dre and Heidi, thank you so much. You guys, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're running out of time. We got a great show for you next week. Next week, we've got Bianca Ryan and Bobby Eakes coming on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chad, thank you. Chat room, thank you. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
I'm just chilling, jimmystarshow sitting down and designing. Why every man never thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
British punk, yo, what I wanna be. Jimmy Star's new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Stars. He'll dress you right. You'll feel like a star. We'll hook you up. Now you look sexy. Your game is tight. Gonna get laid tonight. You need Jimmy Star. Jimmy Star. You need Jimmy Star. Jimmy Star.
One day I was walking down the street. My mate come up to me and said, "Hey mate, wanna go to a party?"